Y'all, it is getting so hard out there as a reseller. We are coming into a recession. People have less money to spend. Retailers are hurting, so they're discounting their items significantly, which is competition for us as resellers. Thrifting is increasing their prices because they're hurting and they're trying to get the traffic as well. Retailers are getting into the reselling world. There are so many retailers out there now that have their own reselling programs. It is getting so hard. Let me know your biggest struggles down below. But in today's video, friends, I'm going to be sharing 6 ways that you can make it through these hard times. And as we go through this, I'm going to say it's going to be not about growth mode, not about making $1 million. It's going to be about surviving to where you can make it through the hump. You can be one of the people who is able to make it through the hump. It is going to be tightening down and going to be really being mindful of what you're doing to be able to survive. So the first thing, the overarching, if you guys are new to my channel, I'm going to say, if you're not new to my channel, you're going to know what I'm going to say, but the overarching is really knowing your numbers, understanding your numbers so that you know how to do some of the things that I'm telling you, and you can really be mindful of how to make it through the times. And when I say know your numbers, know your profit margins, know your net and your gross. I will link a playlist up here of how much money I make every month, mostly every month, time allows. I do a how much money I make video, profit and loss, where I go through my profit and loss statement, talking gross, shipping, cost of goods, fees, taxes, all of that stuff to really understand the business. And understanding these numbers are going to help you, as well as understanding your cost of goods and understanding your impressions and all of the numbers on eBay. Understanding those inside and out is going to allow you to be able to make it through these. That's the overarching. The first thing is going to be cutting out bad cost. And so the reason that this works and why you want to be mindful of as retailers, as companies go through recessions or they're trying, to tighten everything, they go through and cut a lot of things out, which at your gross, you have your top number, and then you have, for us as resellers, you have your cost of goods, you have your shipping, you have your fees, you have your expenses. Those are all things that are taking money out of your top line to what you are actually putting into your pocket. And so that's where those things that you want to really understand and figure out where you can take costs out of, because if you can lower your shipping, you're going to make more take home. You're going to make more net. However, I want you to be mindful and understand these numbers because you want to cut out bad costs. If you cut out costs that are then impacting your gross, you're going to also impact your net. So for an example, the easiest place to take out some of these is your expenses. As resellers, we don't have a ton of expenses. Things that you have as expenses: shipping supplies. If you have a warehouse, if you have a storage space, is there ways that you can cut these costs or lower these costs without impacting your business, right? So if you take your items out of a warehouse, are you now having to cut how many items that you have available? And this is going to impact your gross. That would be a good cost. You don't want to cut out a good cost. You want to cut out the bad costs. Understanding every single thing that you spend money on. Is there a way that you can get cheaper shipping supplies? Do you really need all the shipping supplies? Do you need to send a thank you note? Do you need to put a sticker on everyone's? And you might. It may encourage brand loyalty. It may get repeat customers. It's going to depend on your business. But you need to go through every single item and everything that you are spending money on and see if there's ways that you can cut out bad costs. Cross-listing software. If you're using cross-listing software and you're cross-listing to 8 different platforms and you're not actually making more money on these 8 different platforms, is it worth spending the money on that cross-listing software? I will link a video up here of how to tell if cross-listing is right for you. I'm not saying to cut it out. It's going to depend on your business, but go through and look at your costs and figure out where you can cut out some of those costs with keeping your gross revenue high. You want to make sure that your gross revenue is still high and cut out some of those in-between things to make it to where your net is going to. The next thing I'm going to tell you is improving your processes. figuring out how to make your processes more efficient. If you can start doing, you're not going to get more time in the day. You're not going to get more money. You are going to tighten everything right now. And if you can go from listing 10 items in an hour to listing 15 items in an hour, boom, you are automatically going to be making more money. Even if those items are selling for less, you are going to be able to make more money, right? So if you have 10 items that sell for $10 an item, right? You're making $100 on those 10 items. Let's say that goes down to $5 an item. It gets cut in half, but you can find ways in your process to increase your listing, increase your shipping, increase all of your processes to now you can do that 10 items in an hour. You're in the same boat. They're only selling for $5 an item. People are spending less. You're going to have to take lower offers. They're only selling for $5 an item. But if you can double how many you're listing in that hour, you are now making the same amount of money, right? Obviously, you have to take into account cost of goods, but that goes into point number one of knowing your numbers. If you can increase your processes, make your shipping faster without sacrificing productivity, without sacrificing customer service, work on your shipping, work on your listing, your sourcing, look at your numbers and figure out, hey, when I go to this sourcing spot, I am not making the most money there. And I'll show you in the Sarah Style Sales and Trends dashboard. This is a Sarah Style Sales and Trends dashboard. I have added a couple new charts. So if you guys do have it and you want the new charts, you should have gotten an email. If you don't have it, these are a couple of the new charts. But look at your numbers and figure out, you can scroll down here, you can look at your sourcing spots and figure out where is giving you the best bang for your buck and spend your time there. If you go to the bins and your sell-through rate, where's my bins? My bins, average sale price is $31. That's one of the higher sell-through or one of the higher returns. However, the sell-through rate's only 9%. You can come down here and say, okay, this thrift store for me, I have a couple of different ones that I go to. This was only an 8% sell-through rate. Maybe I skip that one and I only go to the ones that are really bringing me the biggest bang for my buck, the ones that I can get the best return on my investment from. Looking at all of these things in your processes, in your sourcing processes to make it better. The third thing is going to be constantly reevaluate. So the benefit of being a small business and, business of one, business of a small team is we can pivot. We can pivot quickly. If you are constantly checking in with your numbers, constantly checking in with your business and you're saying, hey, I am noticing that this thrift store is not producing good for me, I can switch and next week I can go somewhere else. Or if you are on eBay and you're like, hey, I'm noticing that my listing impressions are really going down, within a day or two, you can have new strategies that you are using within a day or two. Big retailers, big businesses, because of the bureaucracy, it takes them months, if not longer, to make changes. So that is one of the benefits as a small business, but in order to pivot, you need to be mindful and continue to check in. I look at my numbers on almost a daily, if not bi-weekly basis, checking in with my numbers on eBay. I will link a video up here of how to understand your eBay numbers, the data, the analytics, all of the stuff that they give us, all of those numbers. The better you can understand those, when you see red within a day, you can go in and say, hey, this is red. I need to change this, this, and this. And within a couple of days, you should see an improvement. So that is a benefit, right, friends? It is a benefit of being a smaller business. The next thing, willing to take deals. Friends, people have less money right now. It means that likely, depending on what you sell, right, there's certain categories that during a recession, they will increase. But for the most part, and definitely in my realm, I'm in women's fashion, you're going to see a decrease. And it's not a lowball offer if that's what the market is willing to pay. If last year you were able to get $20 for this item and now you keep getting offers of $10, that's what you're willing to pay, or that's what the market is willing to pay, and that is now what that item is worth. Instead of holding on to the item and waiting for that offer that you would have gotten a year ago, 2 years ago, when things were better, you take the profit, you say, hey, did I make a profit? That's $5 profit I made off of this. Now I can go buy 3 more items because my cost of goods is so low. I can buy 3 more items that are going to make $5, and now I'm making $15 profit. And this is also where increasing your processes is going to help, because if you can increase your process, and you're almost going to have to do a volume game, right? Where you are, excuse me, I have a sore throat, so I have to take a sip of water. You're going to have to move with the market. And if the market is decreasing, hanging on for those, not taking the lowball offers, if all you're getting is lowball offers, that's the market now, right? You can check in Terapeak. I'll link a video up here. Check Terapeak and see what the market is. That's eBay data, current eBay data. And if the items that you're selling are matching Terapeak, the market is declining in your category, and you need to reevaluate, look at your numbers, and pivot your strategy. Be better than everybody else. Now, this is going to be hard because I'm telling you to take lower offers. I'm telling you to cut expenses, but then also be better, right? So you have to figure out ways to still provide a level of customer service that you usually do, if not better. You need to have better. To stay in this, you need to be better than everybody else and be able to run your business. You need to have better photos. You need to have better SEOs. You need to have better customer service. You need to offer returns when nobody else is, because your competition is going to get fierce. Everyone is going to be hanging on for dear life, and they're going to try and make it through too. So do whatever you can to be better than everybody else without sacrificing your business and still being able to make money. I am going to link a video up here for the listing quality report. That is one way that's going to help your listings be better than everybody else. It compares your listings to the top 5% of sellers on eBay right now, and you want to be in that top 5%, if not higher than that top 5%. Be better than everybody else. Friends, you're going to have to pick between luxury and volume. This middle ground is not going to cut it. So I'm going to link a video up here of 2 different models, either a high volume, which means you're selling low price items, but you're selling a lot of them, or luxury. And the reason that I say this is during a recession or when money is tight, the rich don't usually get as impacted. Yes, they're going to cut costs a little bit, but typically speaking, and we'll see how it goes over the course of the next, months into years. Typically speaking though, the rich don't get as impacted. They have money. They're not living paycheck to paycheck. They have money. So luxury is not going to be as impacted. You might have a little impact, but not so much. And then volume. People still need things. It's our human nature to still want things, but we don't have as much money. So if you can find a way to sell more items at a lower price, right? You take a couple dollars off. You can check out my golden formula for resellers. The video that I linked goes into how to make money. You can make money doing both of these models, but you're going to have to know your numbers and figure it out. That middle ground, if you're in that middle ground where I am kind of in that middle ground, you're going to have to reassess, lowering your average sale price and find ways to increase your sell-through rate, increasing your processes and lowering your cost of goods, lowering your expenses, figuring out your numbers and pivoting your store. If you guys like this video, let me know down below other things that you guys are doing to stay relevant and stay and survive during these times. I am going to say, if you're like, this is too hard, it's not for me, I do buy closets out. I do buy stores out. If you are in the women's fashion, men's fashion, kids, send me a message. If you're like, this is not for me, I am getting out of it. That is also an option right now. Say, hey, I'm not for it. Send me a message if you want me to buy out your closet. If you guys like this video, YouTube also thinks you'd like this video, I will link a playlist down here of how to make money reselling, and then make sure to hit that subscribe button.